Could you clarify the difference between the physical faculties and the mental faculties? Well, mental faculties are like what I was talking about. It's employing your imagination, your intuition, your curiosity, your wonder, your reasoning, your will, and most of all, your imagination. And mental and then physical faculties, right, are your five senses. So it's the data you take in through your five senses. Basically, your physical senses. So like basically your mental faculties are what you employ in being a human being. At least as much as we know that human beings were given the gift of language and the imagination to think beyond. Right? So when you use your mental faculties, right, you can visualize your own world and see beyond any of the physical conditions or situations that we seem to put ourselves in. And a lot of times, because a lot of us were raised by industrial parents, right, all they know is the five sensory data, you know, and all that other data that comes from your mental faculties is hoopla or whatever. But actually physical mental faculties are how the place all artists work from. So like my background of working at Lucasfilm, Star Wars, you know, and things like Lord of the Rings, and then the story I'm working on, Matsu, fully comes from the mental faculties. So like this whole image I did right here, I used no reference. So I definitely have reference from my physical faculties, right? Like with Tezuki right here, who's a female character in Matsu, right? I definitely, you know, in my life have looked at a lot of females, right? And so I'm have some data from my physical faculties, right? But to illustrate this and make it fantastical, right, I use my mental faculties. My new cartoon character is a mountain goat. If you ever find time, I was drunken orangutan on the beach last time. Thank you, Dan. Did you work on Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? Neither of them. And the sixth sense is basically a mental faculty. And what folklorists call the sixth sense is the second sight. And that's where the world of fantasy stories come from. Widowmaker, when you getting your book? Get a book, Widowmaker. And going back to the physical and mental faculties, the story of Matsu is very much centered around bringing back the more intuitive approach to living, and living from your mental faculties. So making your decisions more from your mental faculties than your physical faculties. So once again, bringing back wonder, intuition, reasoning, curiosity. Real punks, where do you get your inspiration? My inspiration comes from life. And that's why I root everything in poetry.